Welcome to the 2020 UTV World Championship Awards presented by Polaris RZR.
We're very, very stoked on how everything went down this weekend. And obviously, we wish we could have you guys all here in person and be handing out this glorious hardware to all of you guys. But here we are at the awards ceremony. We're going to at least acknowledge everybody that raced this weekend. We also have some people we need to thank for all the help and support that we got.
Yeah, amazing battles all day. It was super exciting, not only as a promoter, but as a racer and as a fan of off-road racing, to see the extremely high level of racing and competitiveness, you know. But we couldn't do this without a lot of people. It takes an army to put on an event like this, and I want to start with our sponsors. First and foremost, I want to thank Polaris RZR. You guys have backed us from day one. This event wouldn't be here without you. And of course, the vehicles that you guys build are second to none. BF Goodrich Tires, you make the best tires in the business. Thank you for your support. And one of the things that I talked about earlier is this is the first UTV event that BFG has ever done pit support at. Amazing job. Obviously, tires were critical at this race. AZ West, the best dealership in Havasu. Support those guys. They support us. Fortin Racing. Doug Fortin didn't have the day that he wanted, but you know, amazing company. They make amazing products. Rigid Industries. Everybody needs lighting. Go support Rigid. Onyx Off-Road, the app that not only mapped our course, but it helped us control spectators. Really cool app. Special thanks to Sea Devil Lighting. You guys kept us in the light in the pits for the entire race, as well as Sight Solar for providing the lighting for all the parking areas,
Yeah.
and all the different operational areas. Weatherman, Scott Steinberger is now a local here in Havasu. You know, his dad started the Weatherman at the Mint 400 back in the day, and I'm super stoked to carry that forward. And the entire PCI family. You need a race radio, go to PCI and get one. Speed UTV, obviously the man, Robbie Gordon, you know, he not only did he come out here and race, he financially supported the race, and his son Max. Thank you guys. Jamar Performance, thanks. You guys make some of the best products, some of the best performance products out there. I appreciate your support. Venom Rex Wheels, big props to these guys. They make some really stylish wheels for your trucks and SUVs, and they're about to launch their UTV wheel, so look out for these guys. Of course, VP Racing Fuels, the official fuel of the UTV World Championship and the Mint 400. This is the race gas that really everybody needs. We talked about Fortin Racing. Rugged Radios. These guys powered all of our communications. Without them, we wouldn't be able to pull this event off. So big props to Rugged Radios. They're about to move into their new facility up in San Luis Obispo area. So go check those guys out. They have a new digital comm system that's amazing, clear as talking on the phone. Off-Road Warehouse, Greg Adler, Kevin Adler, and the whole crew, Sammy. Thank you guys for supporting us. Appreciate you guys. You know, the cool thing about these guys is they sell race products as well as products for your Jeep and SUV. Surface Sunscreen. We were talking about this earlier. I've had a personal battle with skin cancer, and these guys make a great product. It's a dry sunscreen, so you're not feathered and tarred when you put this stuff on.
Right.
Shock Therapy. Super stoked that these guys came out and supported us. You saw their helicopter flying around. They had like 40 or 50 racers that they were supporting racing in this. You need your shock setup, go to these guys. They support us, support them, please. Builtwell Helmets. We have some really cool awards that we're gonna be giving away that are custom Builtwell helmets. Thanks again to the whole Builtwell crew. Vision Wheels. Same thing, these guys stepped up, came out and supported us. They were here on site. Jim Beaver was out there racing. He didn't have such a good day, but spent the day in here in the booth with me. Awesome company, awesome group of people. Rockford Fosgate, you need audio. You need to rock out when you're riding around the desert, and Rockford Fosgate is the system to go with. So check them out. GSP Axles, another company, make a great aftermarket axle. Stock axles aren't going to cut it out in a race like this. And
Not at all.
we sold a lot of those axles, I think. Losi, RC Cars, great sponsor of ours. Of course, our company, Dirt Co. Buy a t-shirt and keep us in business. Republic Services, these guys are a good partner of ours. They help us with our desert cleanup. They sponsor this event so we can manage all the trash. And of course, Stay Classy Meats, which I've been eating every day at the campsite down here at Cattail Cove. So big props to Stay Classy Meats.
Yeah, and that's really just scratching the surface, you guys. We've had red carpet treatment here in the city of Lake Havasu ever since we first came and started talking to folks here about racing here. So a very special thank you to everybody with the city of Lake Havasu, especially Mayor Sheehy, who was here yesterday supporting a race team, which is pretty killer. You don't get a mayor of a city out at an off-road race too often. It speaks volumes about this community.
I mean, this is an off-road community. We are so happy to be here. And this race is going to stay here, and there's more to come.
Yeah, and everybody at the tourism board, Go Lake Havasu, you know, those guys have been talking with us for years now and really sharing all of the great amenities that this city has to offer for your friends and families. So thanks to everybody at Go Lake Havasu. Big shout out to the Bureau of Land Management. Holy cow, you guys. Field manager Jason West, Adam, Danny, Caroline, everybody that helped us along the way. We've been working with this BLM office for over a year on the planning and logistics for this event, and they've gone way out of their way to help us make this a successful event, to let us race here. And the preliminary reports from them are that we did an excellent job. Everything looked professional. So we will be back next year, and it's in large part due to the help from the BLM. So very grateful for that. Another big thank you to the Campbell family. The Campbell family owns the Ready Mix mine right next to this. That they have a property lease on most of this property. They have been absolutely fantastic to work with. Helped us with the rodeo grounds and the campsites up there. Helped us move all the dirt to prepare the race site.
Helped us build the entire thing. I mean, without them, I think we would have had a completely different event. So big props to Campbell.
Yeah, I literally just a few minutes ago handed a thank you trophy to Chip Campbell, shook his hand and said, on behalf of the entire racing community, thank you guys so much for all the help and support here. Last but certainly not least, our volunteers. We had upwards of 100 volunteers helping us out with this event. We had local Lake Havasu volunteers, members of the Havasu Side-by-Side Club. You guys know who you are. Thank you so much. We had 30, 40-year off-road veterans helping us in the staging area. Randy, all your crew, thank you guys so much for that. If you worked a checkpoint for us or a road crossing, you were responsible for making this race happen. We had to guarantee the safety of the racers or we weren't going to put this event on. So thank you to everybody that showed up and helped us do that. That was absolutely critical.
Yeah, I mean, look, off-road racing is a culture, and that's what we love about Havasu and all the people that were working with us, especially the volunteers. That's part of the DNA that moves everything forward. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you.
Now, we had a ton of crew out here this year, you guys. Obviously, we had event staff, we had our Mad Media crew, we had a live stream crew. Too many guys to thank on this video here, but you guys know who you were. You did a bang-up job. Matt and I are very stoked and very proud to put our name on this race, and we thank you guys for all the hard work. So next up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna toss it over to Tim Shellman. He's gonna come up here with Matt, and we're gonna run down and announce all the winners from every race, from the Kids 170 race all the way up to the Desert Pro race from last night. First, want to thank you guys again, racers, for coming out, bringing your friends and family, and for conducting yourselves so professionally. You know, every time we turned around, what we saw is guys helping each other out. We saw the ladies stacking up and getting ready to race. We saw the kids. It really was the best of the best, and we're very proud of how everything turned out.
I mean, considering that UTV racing is only, maybe 10, maybe 12 years old, everybody should be stoked. We really appreciate everybody's effort, how they handled themselves. And look, we're going to do more of this. So
We're stoked. We're very stoked. All right, let's get the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Shellman up here, and we'll start announcing some hardware.
My name's Tim TPQ Shellman. I am super pumped to give the awards out to all these awesome racers that came out here this weekend. Matt, there was a flurry of people that flocked to this place. I said flurry and flocked at the same time, that came to this place to come race because of this is the ultimate spot for UTV racing.
Well,
this is the landing spot.
Well, we made it the ultimate spot.
Yes, you did.
We've done some dirt work here and created a little dot in the universe for off-road racing here.
That is correct. And these people came here because they knew if they wanted to do battle with the best people in the country, because the freaking borders are locked down, do it here. This was the spot. And we're going to start it out with the 170 class. So the 170 class is probably my favorite. I mean, out of all of it.
Definitely.
Because
The baby ducks.
the baby ducks, because I get to interview them on the start line. I run down the start line and interview every one of them. And these little kids are stuffed in these little seats that are like 5 years old, 6 years
Well,
old.
not only that, but let's talk about, the growth of this class. I mean, this class is only 6 years old. Really? Maybe 6 years old.
Yeah.
And it's just blown up. We had over 40 racers racing with us. We had so many races, we had to break it into 2 heats to make it work.
And then change the course too, because there was no way we could have put that many kids out there at one time. There was no way.
Absolutely.
So we had to do a kind of a, what would you call an audible?
Yeah, an audible.
An audible. Anyway, so
It's normal in off-road racing.
absolutely
Things change, we adapt,
overcome.
That's it. Yeah, let's talk about the Youth 170. Stacked. All these kids are champions. One of the things that's super important to us is that these kids come out and race with us and they know that they're just going to get better and better.
Right. And they're going to be well taken care of. I mean, they're going to be, first of all, safety. That's number one. First of all, safety. I mean, if we can't afford to have kids get hurt doing this, we need to make sure they go out, they have a good time, and they tell their parents they want to come back and do it again. And the parents realize that too. They're safe. They get to go out there and go race and be safe and come back in. It's like, this is awesome. This was a team effort. I got to yell at you from the sidelines, and you drove the crap out of that car.
Absolutely.
So let's start with we're going to do the whole top 10, and we'll slow down at the top 3. Okay, so in the Youth 170 class, Brandon Craw, number 9, Brecker Chase, Ryder Barnaby in the number 8, Jake Hill in 7, Dylan Carter in the 6th spot, Jacob Williams in 5. The number 4 spot, Cruz Worley. So now coming up to the top 3, which is really great because Cruz and Chase Worley taking the number 3 spot, which was fantastic. We got to have both those kids up on the finish line at the same time.
Super cool to see brothers racing again.
Brothers racing again. And then the number 2 spot, Chase Mankin. Chase Mankin did an awesome job. And then
sorry, I got to chime in there. Chase, you're a little savage. I can't wait to see this kid continue to move up.
That's a fact. And then TJ Sears pulling out the number 1 spot. TJ was an absolute madman out there in that 170. I don't even know how in the heck his head stayed on. I watched him bobble around through that track just wide open. But congratulations, TJ, for taking the number 1 spot. That trophy right there, that's going to be shipped off to you. And everybody gets 1, 2s, and 3s, all made by Assault. Assault made these trophies, and they did an awesome job at it.
Well, and all our finishers also get finisher medals as well.
That's
Those will
right.
be coming to you.
As well, because of this funny stuff that we have going on throughout the country. Yes, we're gonna keep him. Do you have a mute button on him for right now? We're gonna ship all this stuff out to you, so there's no cross contamination, because you don't want this guy handling all your stuff before you get it.
I'm germ free, man.
You are. So coming off into the 250 class. 250 class is the next step out of the 170s. And these are basically 170s on steroids. They're built to the hilt, and they throw a bunch of money at them, and these things are super quick. So coming in at the 10 spot, George Lamosas. Great kid. Very good speaker. RJ Tremblay coming in at the 9. Landon Poppert, also a great speaker. Declan Shields coming in at 7. Brecker Chase in 6. Brecker Chase jumped out of his 170, jumped into his 250, like immediately after, and raced back to back.
That's so cool.
right?
That is so cool.
And finishing 6, respectively. Brooklyn Singleton. Brooklyn, little girl out there showing those boys what's up. Mashed.
We love that.
We love that.
We want more girls to race with us.
Heck yeah, there was tire marks and Nerf bars bent and powder coat missing all off her car. She mashed her way through traffic. So great. Cruz Britchland in the 4 spot, and then come down to number 3, Deegan Gonzalez. Deegan Gonzalez came in hot, put it on its head, showed everybody his drain plug, got flipped back over and kept mobbing.
That's awesome. Yeah, Deegan's part of the Gonzalez family, obviously. His older brother's racing with us in 570, is about to move up as well.
Yes. Chaden Minder in the 2 spot. Great job for him. And then Paxton Shendell takes the number 1 spot, the top spot.
Congratulations, Paxton.
Absolutely. The Youth 570 coming in with that. So probably one of the coolest names in all of off-road racing.
I want this name. This is so cool.
It is, but he already took it, so we can't double up on it.
You have to do the monster truck voice for this kid.
Okay, I will. Okay, you ready? In the number 10 spot, Jedi Jack Mameli. Yep, Jedi Jack in the number 10 spot. Kaylee, another girl racer. Love the girl racers out here. Kaylee Federwish in the 9. Brody Atkins in the number 8. David Pohl in the number 7. Cole Goff in the 6. Travis Salee, great family, the Salee family.
Definitely.
In the number 5 spot. TJ Sears, remember, took the win in the 170, came all the way back, and then finished in the number 5 spot in the 570 class. So jumped out of 170, took the win there, hopped in the 570.
Awesome.
Yep, and then took the 4. So now the number 3 spot on the podium, Caden Danbury, great kid, seen him a bunch of times up on the podium. Chase Mankin again, you're going to hear that kid's name like thousands and thousands of times in off-road racing. And then taking the win, Ethan Groom. Ethan Groom, that dude is like destined to hop into a pro car here anytime soon.
Definitely. Kid has a big future in off-road racing.
Heck yeah. So congratulations, Ethan Groom taking the number 1 spot in the 570 class. So Youth 1000 class. So these are the kids that are moving back up, right? What's the age group on the Youth 1000 class?
Well, this goes all the way up to 17, which is crazy, right?
Right.
But it's also really cool because this is a stepping stone for these kids to move into a 1000 car and get used to the vehicle before they're racing with adults.
So getting their feet wet per se, but
yeah. I mean, although I would say that probably top 5 are faster than a lot of the adults.
Yeah, because they're way more focused.
Maybe we should do a class where it's the kids battling the adults and see how that works.
Yeah, well, the adults always get lost.
Who knows?
Okay, coming in the number 10 spot, Youth 1000 class. Stephanie Waropoulos, and I know I butchered your last name, and I did it on stage too, and I apologize, and I butchered it out on the start line as well. So I apologize for that. You can text hate mail to madmedia@matt. I'm kidding. And then at the number 9 spot, Lucas Johnson pulling in the 9. Brianna Bonanno. That's a mouthful. So making sure you deliver that properly is good. But congratulations to Brianna. She came up on the stage.
You know, I always abbreviate everybody's name. I'm just going to say Brianna B.
Brianna B. Right. There's a yeah, that one's tough to say when you're trying to say it quickly, just so you know. Devin Smith pulling the 7 spot. Carter Bowers in the 6. Colton DeMouth in the 5 spot. Madison Durade, Maddie came in the 4 spot in the 1000 class. That's cool. That's impressive. I will always give monster props to the gals out here racing. And then coming in at the number 3, starting of the podium, Caden Danbury. Caden Danbury, of course, like I said, we'll hear his name 1,000 times.
Yep.
And then number 2, Braden Baker. Braden did an awesome job out there. And then coming in the number 1 spot, what's his name?
Do the monster truck voice.
Dallas Gonzalez.
Super stoked for Dallas.
Dallas, awesome job.
He and you know, what's really cool is to see these kids come up from 170, move to 250, and go up to, you know, these higher classes. I mean, this is a ladder system that's helping these kids become better off-road racers.
And mind you, these are full-size cars. I mean, this is a full-size race rig, 1,000 cc, big horsepower, all the suspension, and they're a handful. What, 1,500 pounds, 1,600 pounds?
Not even that.
Not even that?
Well, oh yeah, sorry, the big one's almost 2,000 pounds.
Almost 2,000 pounds. So I mean, these things are a handful. I mean, and they can get away from you pretty quick. And to be 13, 14 years old driving these things,
It's awesome.
right? I'd have them drive me home from the bar any day.
You should.
Did I say that?
You should.
Okay, coming into the short course production 7-800 class. In the 5 spot, Hunter Martinez. Awesome job by him. Ryder Hall in the 4. And then coming in at the 3 spot, Bella Richard. So Bella, great job from her pulling in the 7-800 spot. And then Mikey Kelly. Mikey Kelly, probably the best hair of any racer known on the planet. Mikey Kelly comes out, looks like a surfer kid. You know, he's got that big poofed out hair. I made fun of him the first time I saw him. Now I'm eating my words because he keeps coming up on the podium. You know what I mean?
Style for miles.
Style for miles. I love that. And then on the number 1 spot, John Cultura.
Great job, John.
Great job, John, taking the number 1 spot. And that's in your short course production 7-800 class. Coming up in your short course 900 class, in the number 2 spot, Brandon Spitz, right? Great name, and also great job out there. And then Ryan Prosser taking the number 1 spot in our short course 900. Then coming up in our short course 1000 class, brother of Brandon, Jacob Spitz, pulling off the number 3 spot.
Super cool to see brothers and full families racing together.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's a family effort. They got to drag all this stuff out here, get it all set up. And I mean, wrangling kids to get them into race cars is one thing. Wrangling brothers to get them into race cars is a whole nother level of stuff.
You know, I just wish that these vehicles were available when me and my brother were growing up. There would have been a lot less violence in our family.
I doubt that. You guys would weld spikes on the front of it and take out the public.
For sure.
So coming in the 2 spot, Dylan Lemberg, great job for him. And then Hans Ada taking the top spot. That was so cool to have him up there on the short course 1000 taking the top spot. Hans, awesome job, man. Short course Pro Turbo. So the Pro Turbo M. So Bradley Callahan pulling out the 3 spot. Jeremiah Wagner in the 2, and then Sean Sexton.
Awesome job, Sean.
Awesome job in the short course Pro Turbo M. And then the short course Pro Turbo, these guys went out and like totally duked it out. And we're just doing top 3s.
Yeah, and this was really cool because, you know, a lot of these guys were a little intimidated by this course and the fact that it was a 30-mile loop.
Right.
And they had to complete 2 of them.
Right.
So we had a lot of drama, which was really cool. And that's off-road racing.
Right, it is. It's not just like a elongated motocross track. This was full blown. There were some jumps in it, but it was all natural terrain jumps. Yep. And then there was a bunch of crap thrown in there too. So it wasn't just what they were used to, but these folks right here made it happen. Yep. So the triple threat, one of my favorite dudes out on the racetrack, quad guy, Bo Barron taking the 3 spot, which was really cool. He came up here. Oh yeah, it's totally awesome. That Bo coming into the 3 spot. Michael Dunnigan eking it out, kind of came out of nowhere, which was really cool to see him up there. He totally covered in dust. The dude had to work his butt off to get into the 2 spot.
Definitely.
And that's Michael Dunnigan. And then the number 1 spot, 145 pounds, 7 foot 16 and a half, Ronnie Anderson.
So stoked for Ronnie on this one. This is a huge win for him that I think will help propel his career forward.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I know he was underneath his brother's shadow for a while, but this...
What brother?
Does he have a brother?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, he doesn't. But I tell you what, the race lineage that comes out of that family is tremendous.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what the hell they eat at that household, but holy crap, there's a lot of speed coming out of that.
I've been there for dinner. It's shock oil.
I love it. That was your short course Pro Turbo class. So let's talk a little bit about the youth sponsorship that came out of Polaris. So Polaris did this amazing thing just for this race, and they announced it just prior to. That wasn't the flood of kids that came here, but the flood of kids received it when they got here. Give us a little lowdown what Polaris did and kicked the world in the butt.
I mean, look, I'm really stoked on this personally because we started youth racing at the World Championship here.
Yes.
6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And now it's just exploded. And now we have Polaris stepping up to recognize these young racers and giving them a factory youth program. They're putting up over $15,000 for the winners of the UTV World Championship, the youth racers. And they're going to give them $2,500 in parts. Some of them they're getting $5,000 in parts. So it's a huge program. It's better than some of the pros get.
Right.
And it's really cool. I mean, again, Polaris RZR steps up.
Huge.
And supports off-road racing. I
Right.
would hope that some of the other manufacturers follow suit. We'd really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, we'd love to see other manufacturers throw their hat in the ring and produce, same CC, same size cars and so forth. I mean, we love competition. Competition breeds excellence.
And, like I keep saying throughout the live stream, throughout everything that we do, support the brands that support off-road racing. Vote with your dollar, people.
Yes. So Polaris doing a massive deal, sponsorship kicking in. I even heard they're going to drag some kids off and take them off to special events and get to hang out with pro Polaris drivers and so forth, all over the country.
That's going to be rad.
Oh, right? Get a taste of it? Like 10-year-olds running around with like pro guys all over the country?
Yeah, we'll have better drivers.
Heck yeah. And you know what? Better brand managers too. I mean, these kids are going to be so well adjusted, to the outside world.
They're going to have style for miles, that's for sure.
Style for miles. Desert Rally class. I don't know if there was 15,000 entries. Holy smokes. I mean, the field was packed. I'm like, what the heck is UTV Rally anyway?
This is a really cool class because you basically take a stock vehicle, you add safety equipment to it, and you can come out and race with us. We designed this class specifically a few years ago to get people off the couch and out racing with us. You don't have to have a full-blown race vehicle to come out here and do battle. These vehicles have gotten so good that, you need a cage, you need safety harnesses, you need to pin the doors, you need nets and seats, and you're racing.
I mean, that's minimal money spent to come out because
It's almost free.
Almost free. So let's say, I go to the AZ West down here and I go buy myself a brand new Polaris, right? And so I put a cage on it, belts, a seat, a couple other safety pieces. I can come out here race on the same track that the pros are racing on?
Absolutely. That's the point of this class, is to bring more people into off-road racing.
So I shouldn't be intimidated by like pro class this and pro class that and pro this and pro that. No, this is like a beginner class. Just come on out and run what you brung.
This is so people can get their feet wet and really understand the value of off-road racing. We know what we have here and we know the value of it. So once people come and try it, we know that they're gonna go into the rabbit hole.
And the off-road world digs its nails into you and drags you right into it.
Absolutely. So let's talk about a few of these guys, the top three.
Top three. So Zach Bevers in the 3 spot. Congratulations. I mean, there was tons of people out there, and the course just got rougher and rougher and rougher. And this is the first race off Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, first race off, sun right in their face. I mean, literally the sun was rising. Pow. Anyway, very difficult race to do. Daniel Siegel taking the number 2 spot. Congratulations for you. And then Chris.
Hold on a second.
Well,
that's a huge one. Daniel, this is his first race, right? And
that's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did.
He like a week ago bought Bryce Menzies King of the Hammers car and has never been in a competitive race. Has been out here pre-running.
That's right.
With my boy Jason Ayers, right? And Jason, great job on getting this young man prepped for this race. And, came out here and got a second place. I mean, almost won it. Like, that's crazy.
First time ever.
That just proves that anybody can come out here and have a great race experience.
Right. I mean, it takes a certain talent. I mean, you just can't come in here, mouth breathing and think you're going to do well, right?
You can't? That's what I've been doing this whole time.
Fogging up the windshield. But you do have to focus. I mean, in the true talents obviously show their face when it comes to finishes. I mean, you can come out here and go like full-blown cowboy and just wreck the crap out of your car within like 15 minutes because you want to be a badass. You could, but
Cowboy didn't wreck his car. He got to the finish.
he did get to the finish. I'm doing it for instance, but that guy, I love that guy. He was awesome to interview. Let's talk about Chris Blaze. So Chris Blaze came in the #1 spot. So talk about the course. The course had what 1,652 turns in it, right? It wasn't
something
like
crazy.
It wasn't like mob straight out.
I mean, everybody came to the finish line and they were completely worked.
Completely wore out. So Chris Blaze, I'm gonna give like double top honors to him because unfortunately a few years back he was racing his dirt bike in a desert race, crashed.
Yeah, he's one of the OG moto racers in off-road.
Right, and this is the difference between bikes, quads, and cages, right? I mean, your head's out there flopping around and it could be wiped out at any time. So Chris took that challenge and unfortunately got the bad end of the deal, but there's no quit in Chris, okay? He came back here, paraplegic, nothing but hand controls, and worked the crap out of this course and took the #1 spot.
#1, that's so cool to see. But the other thing too, I think this is a testament to the guys who come from quads and bikes who learn how to read terrain at speed. They always make fantastic racers.
Well, because
there's that one guy, Larry Rossler.
Larry Rossler
uses the litmus test for that.
Yes, because the consequences are so much greater if you don't read the terrain, as well in a cage vehicle.
Yeah, what's the saying? Pain is the greatest teacher of all.
It is, and it keeps giving. So coming into the short course 1000 class, the short course 1000 class, great class, tons of competition in it. Jason Sosi came in at the 3 spot, great job for him. And then coming in the 2 spot, Jacob Spitz pulling in the 2. And then coming in on the #1 spot, Dylan Lemberg pulling in the #1. Congrats, Dylan, great job. We're gonna bounce back over to the Desert Sportsman class. The Sportsman class, that's the class that, what do you do to a car to get into the Sportsman class to get out there and go race?
I mean, this is a full-blown race class, but this is the Sportsman class. So these are new guys, right?
Okay.
And this gives them some time to get their feet wet and get acclimated to desert racing.
So do I have to go build a big professional car, have semis and all that stuff come out and feed my whole race program? Or do I just come out, have a stock car and do a couple modifications and go out and race in this?
I mean, the point of this class is so that you can ease your way into it. But if you want to start with a semi, I highly recommend it.
Cool. Takes a couple more dollars than I got.
Don't forget the barbecue.
And you gotta roll the barbecue out. So coming in the Desert Sportsman class in the 3 spot, David Jobski. David Jobski pulling off a 3, great job. Craig McIntosh in the 2 position. And then winning that Desert Sportsman class, Brody Akins. Brody Akins taking the #1 spot. Great job, Brody. So coming into the Desert RS1. So the RS1 is a single-seater, right?
Single-seater, right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
It's a really cool car. I love this car because you're not on the left, you're not on the right, like in Europe, right?
Right.
So you're right in the middle.
Do you have a GPS or any of that stuff? Can you read off of? Do you have room for any of that?
You've got everything, but it's right in front of you and it's beautifully centered, balanced.
Cool. So you can see the left tire and the right tire. I did that backwards, but in the TV screen you saw right. In the TV screen you saw right and left.
Right.
Anyway, so on the RS1 you can point and shoot with this thing, same weight, pretty much the same chassis as a 2-seater car, right? But just all centered position.
Well, it's a little lighter. When this car came out, we were really excited about having a car that was designed specifically for competition.
Right. But going on a desert race, you don't have a co-dog, a co-pilot reading off GPS points and so forth, telling you, hey, miss this rock, there comes a big obstruction, so on and so forth. You have to do it all on your own.
No, but you know, there's a long history of single-seaters racing and winning in off-road racing. So to us, this was a very organic class, right?
Perfect. Coming into the 3 position, Travis Zollinger picked up the 3 spot, which is fantastic. One of my favorite racers. I have, I don't know, a couple dozen, but this is such a great gal and fantastic on social media, and you have to follow her, KDVRacing.com. Katie Vernola. Katie Vernola does such a great job, super professional, does a wonderful job. Not bad to look at.
Well, one of the women, one of the many women out here racing with us and having good success.
Yes, absolutely, and a very tenacious racer. Katie Vernola in the 2 spot. And then Jimmy Rodriguez pulling out the number 1 spot. So great job, Jimmy, pulling out the RS1 win. So going off to the short course Pro Turbo M, and that M is modified. So we put together a separate class for them because it's a modified class, so they wouldn't be put into the short course Pro Turbo. So many entries. We have to make sure everybody's got their own specific class. You know, different variations on vehicles and tech. You know, you have to tech the cars and they fit in different parameters, correct?
Yeah, and our goal is always to keep off-road racing fair. And as you know, we have the tech director of all tech directors, Bill Savage. He pretty much wrote the book on off-road racing tech, so.
Right. So if you're, you know, just because you bring out the biggest wallet doesn't mean you're going to win, because there's a separate class.
You're not going to get past Savage.
You're not going to get past Savage. That's right. So Pro Short Course Turbo M in the 3 spot, Bradley Callahan in the 3, Jeremiah Wagner in the 2, and Sean Saxton takes the win in the Pro Turbo Modified. Now coming up in the short course Pro Turbo. And now this is kind of a premier class for the short course, right?
It's not kind of, it's the premier class for short course.
Thank you for telling me that, because everybody needs to know that. These are the top contenders that come out of short course. So in the 3 spot, quad guy, right?
And a Savage.
And a Savage. This dude is a triple threat. He can do it on a quad, on a dirt bike, in a side-by-side, having number 1 plates and championships, like in all 3 disciplines. You can't name anybody else that does that, right?
Yeah. No,
and
listen,
currently, and hold it all at one time.
I love this guy. I have a huge amount of respect for him.
Yes, and I do too. Bo Barron. Bo Barron takes the 3 spot. Couldn't be more tickled for that guy. Super calm, cool, collected, very witty, very kind of quiet. He kind of plays off a doofy thing, but he's really, really smart. So don't take the doofy spot from him, because he really is smart. Michael Dunnigan taking the number 2 spot. Awesome job by him. And then 6 foot 19 and a half, Ronnie Anderson. So Ronnie Anderson, I mean, barely gets into this car. They almost had to lengthen the cage out, because he's so stinking tall.
Yeah, this is a huge win for Ronnie. I think this is going to help move his career forward.
Right.
And everybody knows he's fast. I think that it's just a recognition thing, you know? I mean,
right.
Obviously he's got this older brother named RJ.
Who
he's been in the shadow of for a long time. But I think this is the beginning of his breakout of his career. And I'm looking forward to seeing more from this young man.
Absolutely. You know what? And I will always say Ronnie's his own dude, right? He always promotes his own game, and phenomenal to talk to. I mean, very professional, always approachable. I mean, you can put him in front of a camera and a microphone at any time.
Well, when we talk about families, I mean, the Anderson family is a second generation family. His father raced off-road and was the crew chief for Walker, and then ran Walker Evans Racing. So, you know, he's one of the kids that was born into off-road racing, and it's super rad to see him succeeding here at the UTV World Championship.
Going into Desert UTV Rally, piles of entries in this rally class. So rally class was kind of an entry-level class, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we started this class because we wanted people to get off the couch and come and go off-road racing. So this is a stock UTV with a cage, a seat, harnesses, doors, you know, just the basics. You don't have to change any of the suspension. You really don't have to change the wheels, although I recommend having proper wheels and tires, especially for a course like this. But it's for the average guy to come out and try off-road racing.
So it's just safety measures. That's all it is, because we need to have you as safe as possible to get to the finish line. So coming in the 3 spot, Zach Bevers picking up the 3. Daniel Segal in the 2. Siegel,
right? And really cool story with Daniel. You know, this is his first race. He bought Bryce Menzies' UTV, his Hammers car, a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Came out here for his first time, did a bunch of testing with my boy Jason Ayers, right? And came out and pulled off a second. Pretty rad.
That's rad. First race out, coming out and pulling off a second place. In the first place, Chris Blaze. So Chris Blaze is a phenomenal story. So Chris, unfortunately, a few years back, had a terrible get off on a dirt bike. One of the top premier dirt bike racers in off-road has a terrible get off, becomes paralyzed. So no quit in this dude. Of course, the off-road has its nails into him, and he has to go out and race again. So what does he do? He comes out, he gets a hand-controlled side-by-side. Now, coming out here, this isn't like wide open desert, like straightaways and a couple little turns and stuff like that.
If you would have told me, I mean, look, Chris has a ton of knowledge.
Yes.
But if you would have told me that a guy was going to win this class in hand controls, I would have bet money against you. So huge props to Chris. I mean,
right.
Great win.
Right. And remind me not to shake hands with that guy, because, I mean, if he went through this...
death grip.
Oh, the death grip. He'd rip my arm right off me. Yeah. And huge props to Chris. And that's taking the Desert UTV Rally class. So let's go into Desert Pro Unlimited. Desert Pro Unlimited. So the Desert Pro Unlimited class, that's a pretty much run what you brung. You could build the snot out of this car, correct?
Yeah, as long as you have the factory pickup points, like the basic geometry,
Okay.
it's a class that we can move around in and do a lot of modifications in.
Right. Show some cool engineering stuff, like kind of flaunt your stuff. You're like, I can build a better mousetrap and put it into this vehicle and let's go race it. So Billy Gothe taking the 3 spot in that Desert Pro Unlimited. Jacob Krotz pulling the 2, which is a big effort. Travis Zollinger coming back again in the Unlimited class. Saw him twice out here, of course, in the RS1 and now in the Unlimited class.
So we have to go back and look at it. I think he's the only one who won 2 classes, right?
You know what? I think you're right. So Travis Zollinger, I mean, getting a huge props from UTV World Championships, pulling out the win in 2 different classes. 2 completely different cars, too.
Well, and he started racing in snowmobiles, started making parts for snowmobiles, and then transferred that knowledge over to UTVs. So he's a racer and parts builder for UTVs. So, you know, this part of the community, go out and support this guy. ZRP Products, I think that's his company. So if you need products for your UTV for racing, go out and support Travis, because clearly his parts are working.
And working well. So let's go to the Desert Pro Naturally Aspirated. So that was run Friday night. So started at 2 o'clock, ended at 10. Crap got gnarly. I mean, this is like kind of day 1 race day, tracks breaking down like really bad, and then going into the nighttime. Picking up the 3rd place spot, JD Marsh. Huge effort by JD.
Stacked field. I mean,
oh yeah,
you know, over 20 racers. You
right.
know, I mean, we talk about different forms of racing, but like when your field is 20 plus guys and you win, that's huge.
Right. Caden Wells pulling up the 2 spot. Great job out of Caden. And then pulling off the pole position no pun intended, Dodge Pullman. So Dodge Pullman had a bunch of clean air right out of the get-go, but he also won that $5,000 out of Speed. Speed kicked in $5,000 for top qualifying spots for Pro Naturally Aspirated and Pro Turbo, and he wound up picking up the top qualifying position for Naturally Aspirated.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about this. I mean, Dodge won the UTV World Championship a couple of years ago, took a little breather, and he's back. And boy, did that breather work out for him, because, I mean, think about what he did. At 20-something years old, he came out, he beat Robbie Gordon qualifying. He beat the entire field qualifying, and then came out and won the race. I mean, huge win for him.
Huge win. And I talked to Robbie Gordon, because Robbie Gordon was, he ponied up the dollars. He ponied up 10 grand. I mean, 5,000 per class for top qualifiers. And I'm confident that Robbie damn near killed himself. Well, actually, Max. So Max drove qualifying and did a hell of a job at it. To try to get that money back, and put it, say, hey, I put up this money, put up or shut up. And Dodge wound up out in front of him. So Robbie and Max were sitting behind him, on the start line. And, that kind of, I was like, and I asked Dodge about that. I was like, do you think that stings a little bit? You sitting out in front of him. And he goes, it's a highlight to beat Robbie.
Absolutely.
I mean, Robbie's a massive competitor.
And it's really cool that Robbie comes out here time and time again and puts it on the line.
He does. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he puts it back into the industry.
And his reputation. So really cool to see. I think that we're going to see a lot of things with Dodge. He's got a big career ahead of him. Obviously, his dad was racing with us as well. Has this thing called a trophy truck. So we'll see how long Dodge stays in UTVs.
And moves on. So, Dodge Pullman, congratulations in that Desert Pro Naturally Aspirated. Last but not least, so this is the premier class. This is where it's a put up or shut up. This is a full-blown, Death Cage 1000, right? That's where this ends up.
Death Cage 2000, right?
Death Cage 2000.
So, I mean, listen, when we're looking at race courses, we're designing them backwards from the highest class. So, looking at this course, as we were laying it out, we designed it for the Pro Turbo, the Desert Pro Turbo class, right? We knew all the other classes could click through it, but we wanted to make it as challenging as possible and still have good racing. And so that's exactly what happened, right? I mean, last night's race was a nail biter.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I didn't know until time and scoring came back to me and confirmed everything, who won.
Right.
We had this battle all the way to the finish.
Seconds.
And just incredible off-road racing. I mean, you look at off-road racing in general, and you look at all the classes, and you look at the battle that we just had. It was epic. I know that gets used a lot, but this was one of those races.
It was, and I was fortunate enough to handle the podium out here, and it was a nail biter. It really was. I was sitting there, and timing, scoring, getting back to us. We had offset times and so forth, and then finally got the final official decision. We didn't have to wait 3 days. It was fairly quick when we had the couple last drivers come in, but. Previous champion Brandon Sims came in the 3 spot. No joke when it comes to off-road racing. Brandon Sims, great program, a solid individual.
Absolutely, and he's just coming off of a win at the Mint 400. So,
yes.
He was one of the guys that I looked at and I went, yeah, this guy can definitely win it. Again, all the way to the end, and we're looking at the data and we're going, okay, who won it?
Right.
What are the time splits, and verifying all the data, and Brandon ended up in the 3rd spot.
Yes.
Tremendous drive. I was talking to his dad earlier, and he was giving me some insight to why Brandon didn't do better than 3rd place. And apparently his hydration system failed, right? And so by the last lap, he was full-blown dehydrated, hallucinating, didn't know what was going on.
Sasquatch jumping out of the tree.
Exactly. So people who don't know how hard it is to drive at this level for 150 miles, it makes those other forms of racing look like child's play.
It does. Coming in the number 2 spot, tons of respect for this guy. Not only a car builder. I mean, when you build your car, you trust your car, right? Justin Lambert with Cognito.
Built with Cognito. He's the owner of Cognito. He builds some of the best UTV race cars out there.
Yes, he does.
As well as lift kits and stuff for your trucks. Yeah, he was one of the guys that I was looking at. I'm like, okay, I think Justin just creeped up from the back, all quiet like, kind of Rob McCackran style, and he's like, oh, sorry,
I'm here.
I want it, right? Like that's
Right.
what we were looking at. And we're like, is he gonna do it? And he was very close.
He was very, very close. One very close to my heart. This gentleman kind of put a little hiatus in his race program for a little bit, but had great support out of Polaris for many years. Known him since he was 19, racing quads, right? And then used that race program to come out here and point and shoot and kill in the Pro Turbo class.
Huge win.
Ryan Piplick.
Huge win for Ryan.
I mean, huge win.
I mean, you and I both know this guy has always been a gamer.
Yep.
And what's tough about the off-road race game is, things change, right? Sponsors change. You get, this guy has a great social media, and so that guy's getting a sponsor. There's all these things that factor into it, and it's really tough. You come out here, you spend your own time, you spend your own money, your family's here, they're spending their time and money. You want to do good.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Nobody comes out here and goes, if I finish 10th, that'll be cool.
Cool. If I half-ass this, people will be proud.
Nobody does that.
No.
And he's one of those guys who comes out to every race and just sends it. And he fights and he expects to be number one. And was fantastic last night to see him get that. Some new kids in his family. I saw his wife out here with his
3 kids,
with his
twins and a little girl,
right?
Yeah.
Which that was really cool because I look at that and I go, all those kids are going to end up off-road racing with us.
Heck yeah, they will be. And all 3 of those kids make me look like I'm sedated, if you can imagine that.
Well, and they're going to be taller than you next year.
Well, next year they will because they're only 6. So that rounds out all of our winnings. So tremendous competitors out there. We can't thank everybody enough for coming out here and doing battle at the UTV World Championships here in Lake Havasu, brought to you by Polaris RZR. Tremendous effort by everyone, and we appreciate everyone that comes in. I mean, I don't care if you have a diesel pusher, like 45-foot trailer behind you, bringing in 8 cars, or sleeping out of a tent. It doesn't matter. You come out here to compete, and we love having you here.
Congratulations to all the racers,
Yes.
the finishers,
Yes.
and especially the winners. You guys earned it 1 mile at a time.
That's right. One of the things I love to do, and probably one of the coolest parts of this whole thing, is going to be delivered by Robert Blanton with Warfighter Made. Warfighter Made, as you know, is a grouping of our great warriors that are injured in battle, but come out here and do battle on this particular platform.
Listen, absolutely. We talk about this all the time, but for me and my brother, our charity that we choose to focus on is military, active duty military and veterans, and nobody does it better than Warfighter Made. 100% of what you donate to them goes to helping active duty and wounded warriors recover. So, a couple of years ago, we started this whole thing with their award, and it's every race we do. People are like, hey, where's the Perseverance Award? So as long as we're around, this award is going to be around. So let's bring Robert up and have him give away this Perseverance Award, because we saw a lot of battles today. A lot of people earned the finish line the hard way.
Right. So Robert Blanton's coming up next. One of the greatest things about this whole race weekend is what we have is the Perseverance Award. And that means that we have a very, very elite group of people that come here and present this. Warfighter Made is very close and near dear to my heart because of what they do for the military that makes this the greatest country on the planet by far. My father, a double Purple Heart, Marine Corps, Vietnam, that it really entrenches what you folks do for us to make it possible for us to be free in this country. Give us a little insight on what Warfighter Made does for our greatest people.
Absolutely, Tim. Thanks. You know, Warfighter Made is a full-time, all-volunteer, veteran-based organization. We specialize in recreational therapy for ill, injured, and combat wounded service members and veterans.
Okay.
We do all vets, all branches,
Right.
all eras. It's very, very important for Warfighter Made to honor all vets coming up, especially our Vietnam veterans, because of kind of the raw deal that they received coming home from, you know, defending our nation's freedoms. So Warfighter Made does that in a number of ways. First and foremost, we adapt and customize vehicles for catastrophically wounded warfighters. Basically, our brothers and sisters that went overseas and became amputees due to direct combat with our nation's enemies. And we do all of that free of charge to that veteran. We also do a thing we call adrenaline therapy. We do adrenaline therapy Saturdays where we take our Polaris RZRs and we put, again, all vets from all branches and all eras behind the wheel of those Polaris RZRs and try and reintroduce that adrenaline that many of us veterans kind of miss when we separate from the military, and we're kind of looking for that fix.
I can only imagine, and I truly respect all of our all of our servicemen and women. I did not serve, but I truly appreciate what you guys do, guys and gals do, and you come back out of such like high like volatile situations, come back here to kind of, you know, prim and proper land, and you miss that. You need that, right? You need that to go through the day. You need to get that, like, that was almost it, right? That scare that goes through your body, right?
You need that adrenaline to almost feel alive again.
Right.
And then with that feeling, the other thing you need is you need to be around like-minded people.
Correct.
So the other thing that Warfighter Made provides is what we call camaraderie therapy. We have a 4,000 square foot facility in Temecula, California, which is where our home base is at. And again, we invite all vets, all branches, all eras to come hang out with us there. Help us build these vehicles that we're creating for these combat wounded veterans, or maintain our fleet of therapy RZRs that are all shot out in BFG tires, because they're another great sponsor of not only UTV World Championships, but also of Warfighter Made.
So,
and
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean...
don't you ever interrupt me again.
I'm going to get shot. I'm totally going to get shot. I'm kidding. So you bring them in and you have them wrench on vehicles. It's not just bring them in and then throw them in the cars and have them go drive. It's also wrench on it, so be a part of it that way.
Well, our shop manager is a combat wounded Marine Purple Heart recipient, Danny Novoa, and he has a plan of the day. And as people continue to show up, then it's his direction to whatever needs to be done. But every vet that comes into through Warfighter Made doors aren't necessarily mechanically inclined.
Right.
They're just looking for something maybe a little bit different than what they've been doing. And what a lot of veterans are doing is they're isolating themselves. They're not going out. They're not, you know, and now due to COVID, that's even becoming worse.
I can't imagine.
Which, you know, we still encourage vets to come and participate. If you're worried about COVID-19, go ahead and social distance, wear a mask, whatever you feel is necessary to remain safe, but still come and hang out with us, because Warfighter Made is like being in a team, a squad, a platoon, a section, whatever branch you came from, where we really show our love by making fun of one another. And,
right.
And you know, my hashtag is Clueless Rob, because, you know, Danny doesn't really let me touch tools, because I'll either break the tool or I'll break the bolt that I'm trying to loosen up, or I end up eating something that I shouldn't be eating. So Clueless Rob is what they call me.
That's fantastic. Can we talk, so not to sidetrack, well, it's not sidetrack, it's on the same lines. First ever double amputee to ever race at UTV World Championships, Timmy.
Yep, Tim Hall, combat wounded, double leg amputee.
Right.
He was a soldier. He was a communicator. He was doing his deployment in Afghanistan. And what we like to say was, he had the opportunity to catch the mortar that landed right next to him, and he fumbled it and lost both his legs. But
rough.
we became aware of Tim at the actual Mint 400 a couple years ago. We went to our sponsors at Polaris and said, hey, we have this combat wounded double leg amputee. He already races a Polaris, but it's an older model. It's a beat, and we want to give him something new. So they immediately donated a brand new XP4 1000 to Warfighter Made, and it went to Quintero Motorsports, and I mean, the guys over at Quintero Motorsports really went above and beyond. We obviously have some challenges with Tim being a double leg amputee. So every concern that Warfighter Made had with his safety, like if he ended up on his side or if he ended up on his roof, how would he safely be able to get out of that vehicle? Especially if he ended up on his side, on the driver's side, will he be able to climb up and get out of the machine? So we went with a basically an old school class 1 hinged roof, just so he can pop it, roll it back, and just roll right out onto the ground, and then wait for us to come make fun of him.
Right, kind of roll out like a zombie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But a lot of, PRP Seats has always been a longtime supporter of Warfighter Made. Their seats are in his machine. Rugged radio, Method race wheels, BFG tires, Trinity exhaust, Odyssey battery, all these really great Baja designs, all these really great manufacturers that believe in veterans and want to support veterans, and just so happen to do that through Warfighter Made.
So just staying on Tim for a second, you would never know by talking to him all the grief he's gone through his life. You would never know. And I always seek him out. It's gonna hit me. I always seek him out. Best personality.
You seek him out because you guys are the same size when he's sitting in his, when he's sitting in his wheelchair.
I got him by
makes Tim feel better.
Yeah, I've only got him by like an inch. Right, standing next to him in his chair. But greatest outlook on life ever.
Our vice president, who's a combat wounded triple amputee, he's missing both legs and his right arm. I paraphrase this a little bit, but he can say, I can be a disgruntled veteran in a wheelchair, or I can be a positive veteran in a wheelchair. The only thing that's not going to change right now is this wheelchair.
Right.
So it's all about being positive. People are going to look at you no matter what. You look different than what we consider normal.
Correct.
How are you going to react to that? Are you going to be negative and cast this negative shadow on veterans, which we are really trying to rise above? Or are you going to be positive and come out and do awesome things like off-road race, or any of the other, we work with nonprofits like Vet Motorsports that puts veterans behind the wheel on on-road cars. Veterans for Hunting and Fishing, if you guys want to go out and do hunting and fishing. Any vet who walks through the doors of Warfighter Made that isn't 100% into off-road racing or working on cars or whatever the case may be, the fact that you're walking through our doors tells us that you're looking for something different. And that's why we work with all these other great nonprofits to ensure that veteran gets the best care possible. And we do it because Vietnam veterans ensured that our generation of warfighter gets the best care possible today, because they didn't get that, which is now our generation of warfighters' responsibility to ensure the next generation of warfighter is never treated like our Vietnam veterans were treated.
Such a tremendous, tremendous thing, man. And this trophy represents somebody that doesn't give up, right? And that's what you guys are all about. You're in the trenches, and crap's going over your head, and that stuff's killing you. Never give up, right? Is that what this is about?
The Perseverance Award is exactly what it says. It's all about perseverance. No matter what's going on in your life, if you weather that storm, if you persevere through that issue, it does get better. And everybody sitting here right now and everybody watching this, it doesn't matter if you're a veteran or not. We've all been through something that was tough for us. But we're all here right now because we persevered through that. Mm-hmm. And way back in 2014, when the UTV World Championship started, the powers that be came to us and said, hey, we want Warfighter Made to create an award. And that award was basically just, hey, we want you to be able to present something to get Warfighter Made's name out there.
Perfect.
Well, us being who we are, we're like, well, we got to create something that's going to be synonymous with veterans, which is really never giving up, continuing to persevere. So the Perseverance Award was created.
That's awesome. So give me a quick rundown. Who's won it over the years and just a short snippet.
So first and foremost, the very first Perseverance Award that was ever awarded was given to my girl, Donna Ellsworth, who absolutely, she was leading her quad race, lost a shifter, ended up blowing her motor on the last lap on the infield. All she had to do was, a quarter mile or so left to go, blew the motor, quad's dead, and you think most people are like, throw up the hands, walk away. Donna got off that thing and started pushing, and she pushed that thing until she was exhausted. She had to lay down for probably 10 or 15 minutes, and now everyone's now starting to cheer her on.
Right.
She gets back up, crosses that finish line,
Pushed it across.
pushed it across, still finished in third place.
Right.
That's how bad of a whooping she's putting on everybody. And it was an amazing, it really,
It personified exactly
without a doubt. There was
Right.
no question that Donna was getting it.
Right.
Next year, we had another female racer, Katie Vernola.
Yep.
Cartwheeled her machine down the track, landed on its side. She got out. She's trying to get it back over, trying to get help for people to come and stop. Finally, a nice old man wandered over there, helped her get it back on. She jumped in, realized the machine was just
Destroyed.
bad,
Right.
but was still able to limp it across the finish line.
Right.
Then we have our man, Blake Level.
Oh my goodness.
Blake, suffering from cancer, the UTV community rallied behind him, got him his own UTV, and he entered into the youth UTV race, and was starting to have some issues. And his parents wanted to pull the plug, and Blake did not want to quit.
Nope.
He ended up finishing that race. As soon as he crossed the finish line, did his stage presentation and was pulled out of his car, put in a truck, and hauled butt to the hospital.
Right.
And we were able to present his Perseverance Award to him via Facebook Live.
Right.
And then we have my man, Casey Sims.
Oh boy.
The Dustin Jones protege, with his phenomenal hair and his driving ability. As a privateer team, has been on the box of the UTV World Championship every year. This year they were talking about pulling out, and right at the last minute they came together as a family and said no way, and they came out here, and I think they got a top 5 finish.
Yes.
And just an amazing group, an amazing driver, an amazing ability, amazing family. Did I mention he's still a privateer team? I don't know what these people are waiting on.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Why?
And then last year's Perseverance Award winner was Dexter Warren.
Oh yeah.
Flew all the way out here with his family from Australia.
Yep.
Youth 170 race, takes off on the start, gets tangled up right at the very beginning, ends up doing the old school Blues Brothers, spinning on his roof. And as everyone's running up to him, you can just hear him screaming, get me back on my wheels, they're getting away.
Right.
Which personified what, never giving up, the Perseverance Award is all about. So this year's Perseverance Award, like the last 2 Perseverance Awards, was made by my man, Marine Combat Vet Narayan Devone, with a little modification by Warfighter Made own Danny Navoa. It's made with used parts from Croyer Racing Engines. Veteran-owned company, a brother of mine, Bo Gilliswan at Rusted Nail, made the plaque for us, and Authentic provided the sticker for the shield out of Elsinore. And we had a little issue when we showed up here at the track, and we had one of our spot welds broke. I'll take the hit on that one. And we were able to run it over to our friends over at the Fab School, and they got it all fixed up for us. And we're going to award this Perseverance Award, which, he's on valve springs, he's rocking out, his head moves. So depending on what's going on in the person who wins this situation, whatever he wants, if he wants to go head down or he wants to
Chin up.
Yep, chin up, then he can go ahead and adjust that and let everybody know how he's feeling for that day. But this particular award is dedicated to 2 Warfighter Made family members who we lost this year due to non-COVID crap. I can't believe I have to throw that out, but
Thank you.
Angus Powers and one of our co-founders, Butch Lynch. This trophy is dedicated to them, and their initials are on the bottom of this trophy. I want to throw out a couple honorable mentions. There was a lot of awesome stuff that went on at this UTV World Championship, sponsored by Polaris RZR and BF Goodrich. I want to give some love to the hand control crew out here, Dead Leg Racing Team, Chris Blaze, and our own Tim Hull. You know, to come out here and, you know, just make it work because you love off-road and you love the community and you love the adrenaline. My hat's off to you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this and continuing to persevere. I also want to give some love to another veteran nonprofit called Desert Vets Racing that are out here. Desert Vets Racing, any veterans out there that are interested in getting into the off-road racing world, hit them up, Desert Vets Racing. They have a great program that can start as simple as putting you in the pits, putting you as a co-driver, and then eventually putting you into the driver's wheel. So Desert Vets Racing. I also want to give a big shout out to my man, Mike Gardner. Mike Gardner in 2016 was leading the Pro Turbo race on his second lap, leaving everybody in the dust, wadded himself up pretty good.
Big time.
RJ Anderson finally caught up to him and hollered at him to make sure he was okay with. Mike responded, yeah. RJ took off. Unfortunately, Mike wasn't okay.
No, he wasn't.
Mike doesn't remember anything about that. Mike ended up getting out of his car, and I always give him a hard time that he was a cast member on The Walking Dead because he just started doing the drag out into the desert someplace and until he was finally recovered. That injury manifested in itself in a number of things, but he started having panic attacks and also dealing with anxiety. And with the love of his wife, Danielle, his family, and his friends, and a little support from Scanlon Motorsports Group, he was out here and raced this race, actually kicking butt too.
He was.
Until he wasn't.
Until he wasn't.
But I got a lot of love for you, Mike. It was great seeing you back out here.
Totally.
And you too, TJ, thanks for being in his co-driver seat until you couldn't take it anymore and then his dad had to get in. One thing that I always like to do with the Perseverance Award is I always like to tell a relatable story of veterans and then announce the name of the person who we're going to give this to. And the 6th annual UTV World Championships is no different. There was a young infantry Marine by the name of Corporal Jones. Corporal Jones was at 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines out of 29 Palms. He was on his first combat deployment to Iraq. He was on a foot patrol when an improvised explosive device detonated and threw him into a canal. His friends immediately came to his aid, rendered assistance. He was flown to Germany, flown to Bethesda, and then eventually found his way to Naval Hospital San Diego. Injuries were extensive, and you immediately start wondering, like, am I going to be able to continue my military career? What's going on with my brothers and sisters that are still in country, that are still in the fight? The Commandant of the Marine Corps at the time, the senior officer in the Marine Corps, paid him a visit like they do for all wounded Marines. And they normally say, Marine, what can we do for you? And Corporal Jones requested orders back to 2-7 immediately. Orders arrived. He was back at 29 Palms at his unit, not as an infantry Marine, but as a support intel analyst. A year later, he arrives in Afghanistan. He's got a brand new prosthetic that replaced his leg, and he's back in the fight, giving love to his brothers and sisters, ensuring that they're getting the best information possible. That's what Perseverance is all about. Last year, a really good friend to the racing community was racing the UTV World Championships. He found himself on his side. He got out of his vehicle, assessing the situation. A person that was watching a corner basically told him that there was another car coming. He started to move out of the way, and he was struck by that car.
Sorry, man. Do it. You got this.
And he almost didn't make it. But with the help of a lot of good people, Brett Carpenter, Travis Zollinger, he was able to race, come back
Yep.
from near death, and race this race.
Yeah.
And he finished. Georgie Hamill, this year's Perseverance Award is all yours, buddy. We love you. We're excited to see you back behind the wheel. Even if you never drive again, perseverance is what it was all about. Here you are. It was great seeing you. Oh, did I forget to mention that Georgie's also paralyzed from the waist down, and he's able to walk because of braces?
Braces.
Knockdown after knockdown after knockdown after knockdown. Georgie, you are the epitome of perseverance. If anyone is ever feeling down, low, not themselves, and are just wondering, I personally, George, Danny Navoa, we can all tell you that it gets better as long as you persevere.
Chin up.
Chin
Chin
up. Or put your head down and charge along. Everybody watching this, UTV World Championships, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We appreciate this opportunity that Warfighter Made was afforded here. Thanks to the Martelli brothers. Thanks to everybody that sponsors this organization, especially our two partners in Polaris RZR and BFG Goodrich. And TPQ, it's always a pleasure to sit here next to you and just have a lot of fun.
We have a lot of fun. This is serious stuff. I mean, obviously, but we always joke and laugh when we get out, out on the grounds. And this is what I love about it. What this group does, it gives back to the people that give so much to us. And it is always my honor to sit next to this gentleman, Rob Blanton, Warfighter Made. Thank you so much for the Perseverance Award.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
We're going to bring Josh Martelli back up here to give away a couple special awards and wrap things up. Welcome back to the 2020 UTV World Championships award ceremony. So what this brings to a conclusion is all the great racers that came out here this weekend, did battle, took home the first, second, third, all the cool hardware done by Assault Industries, just a beautiful trophy. Of course, that Perseverance Award done by Warfighter Made, which is amazing. I mean, you really, really got to earn that one. I mean, this one takes a lot of work. That one takes like pretty much 15 punches in the gut by Mike Tyson.
Yeah, it's a tough act to follow, obviously. But listen, you guys know at the end of the Mint 400, the end of the UTV World Championship, there's always a few extra special people that we want to recognize, and this year's no exception. I mentioned it a little bit earlier today, the Campbell family. I just want to reiterate again how grateful we are to Dub, Chip, and Kyle Campbell, great group of local Havasu natives. They operate a mine here at Ready Mix. It's a great facility, and we really wouldn't be racing. This could not have happened without their help.
Correct.
So earlier today, I personally delivered one of these handmade, built well trophies to Chip Campbell, shook his hand, thanked him very much for all the hard work and the help, and they're very humble people. Anyone in town knows they're good folks. So just another special thank you to Chip, Kyle, Dub, everybody there at the Campbell family. Now we got another guy we got to thank, and this is a really funny story actually. 3 years ago, I was standing on the start line of the UTV World Championship, getting ready to run the race, and I noticed there was a guy there who was lining all the racers up perfectly, drama-free, stress-free, gave us the ability to bounce around and interview all you racers. And I look at this guy and I see how organized he is, and I just had to go over and thank him and shake his hand and meet him.
Right.
We have so many great volunteers. Honestly, it's hard to keep track sometimes of all of them, right?
Tons.
Turns out this guy's name is John Savino. John Savino's been in the off-road racing community for over 35 years. He's what the people from my age say he's an OG, right? He's been doing this a long time. And, you know, John's just tickled pink to be there. He's just stoked to be a volunteer. And, you know, he says to me, hey, you know, the racing here is great. Laughlin's a historic track. You know what no one's ever done? They've never had a desert race in Lake Havasu City. And I'm from the Parker area. I spend a lot of time out in the desert. You guys ought to think about that.
Right.
You know, it would be challenging, as we've discovered.
As we discovered.
Right?
Yes.
But it would be an interesting twist to bring this out to the Havasu area. So that is literally the genesis of why we're here this weekend, was that humble conversation with John Savino. Now, if that wasn't cool enough, John popped up on our radar about a year ago. We stayed in touch. He reached out to us again and said, hey, you know, if you guys want to do this, I'm ready to help make it happen. And it did. Boy, did he deliver. I can't thank John enough for his support. He brought a legion of volunteers with him and a wealth of experience and knowledge. John was the guy on the start line all this past weekend, throwing that green flag, you know, operating the green lights when we had those working, you know, and in the trenches pivoting with us.
Right.
And let's be honest, in this wacky sport called off-road racing, we have to be ready to pivot, and we did.
Yep.
So we got together with our friends at Builtwell, and we created this custom trophy for John Savino, and this is our Outstanding Volunteer Award.
So cool.
Now John's gonna laugh at this because we had to make this trophy. We had to have this produced months ago, and at that point, John had contributed so much time that it was like, okay, there's no way he's not our Volunteer of the Year.
Right.
But then it kept going and going and going. And finally, we just called him up one night. We said, listen, dude, you're hired. Like, you work with us. You're a blood brother. You're in the group. You're in the family now.
Yeah, because you feel guilty. I mean, you feel guilty. I mean, how much the effort, blood, sweat, tears they put forward.
Right.
You're like, you know what? We just got to put you on the payroll.
Yeah, you're on. You're in. Like, whatever you need. You know, here's a company card. Like, you know, go buy the 4,000 stakes that we need to mark this course. Like, let's make it happen. So we're going to be giving this to John right after this and shaking his hand and giving him another big hug. Thank you, John, for all the help and the support. And to everybody who is on John's crew, Randy. I mean, there's so many guys, I don't even know all their names.
Right.
But for coming and supporting us, this is just an outstanding effort on your part, and we can't thank you enough. Now, the final award, this is one that's near and dear to my heart. At the Mint this year, we developed an award that we call the Road Warrior Award. And initially our thought was, look, at some people are traveling from Australia to race our races. Some are coming from the complete other side of the world. Some are just having challenges to get here, right? It's not always the distance that it takes to get to compete. Sometimes it's the hurdles that you have to overcome to get there.
The raccoon that bounces up, wipes out the radiator, and then hits the diff. And takes out the entire truck.
Or in this day and age, it could be, you know, a forest fire. It could be a global pandemic. It could be any number of things that are trying to get between you and that race car leaving the start line.
Right.
Okay. So about a couple weeks ago, we started to really dig in and reach out to racers. And, you know, we're monitoring this whole great adventure that we're on. And it suddenly becomes apparent that actually there's a person on our crew that's really had to overcome a lot of adversity to be here. An amazing woman, somebody near and dear to both our hearts, and she traveled a very significant and difficult road to be here. So we wanted to recognize Miss Maria Shellman, who will be our Road Warrior Queen. Maria's had to battle some health challenges to be here, and she's an absolute integral part of our team and our family. She is the smiling face that all of you racers see when you cross that finish line and you're getting stacked up and you're getting ready to cross that stage and say thank you to your friends and family. If she wasn't there, this would be a mess. You know, frankly, we didn't quite know how to do that when we took over, you know. And she's been a friend and ally. She's counseled us on how to do this professionally, has way more experience than any of us do, and we're so grateful for her help, and we love her. She's family.
Wow.
So this is for Maria Shellman, our 2020 UTV World Championship Road Warrior.
Oh, that's heavy. That's heavy. Just so everybody knows, my dear wife of 30 years was diagnosed with breast cancer. We pushed back her surgery. Well, she made the decision, you know, and it was completely her decision to push back her surgery.
Right.
To make sure we made it here this weekend.
That's right.
And I can't fully speak for her because obviously, you know, I'm an idiot and she leads the charge in our household. Right? I will accept this, you know, in her honor, and it is an absolute freaking honor to be here with you folks. And this probably the biggest award that this family has ever received.
It's our absolute pleasure. We couldn't do this without you guys, Tim, Maria. We love you dearly. And on behalf of everyone here at the Mad Media UTV World Championship Mint 400 family, thank you so much for coming and spending your time with us here, even with those challenges that were in front of you. So, all right.
Awesome. Finishing on a high note. We're not crying anymore.
Right.
We're not crying.
Right.
Okay.
Listen, a final thank you to everybody for coming out this year and racing with us. Want to leave you guys with one gem, okay? We will be back in 2021 racing here in Lake Havasu. It's official. We will be back October 13th through the 17th. We're sliding 1 week forward, so we dovetail in there a little bit better with some of the local events here in the city. But the city loved it. The BLM's happy. I think all of you racers are pretty dang happy with what happened here. And we just want to let you guys know. Mark it on your calendar. October 13th through the 17th, 2021, the UTV World Championship will return.
On behalf of myself, Tim Shellman, TPQ, Josh Martelli, freaking man, right in my heart, and the whole UTV World Championship crew, can't thank everybody enough for coming out this year. Polaris RZR, title sponsor. Looking forward to seeing you again next year, October 13th through 17th, 2021.